So you talked about so those kinds of conversations where you kind of like, I don't know, you have to tell someone how you feel about them.
Yeah.
You have to tell someone that you might be angry. Not that they're an
Yes.
idiot, but you can be angry, and have a good
Yes.
conversation about that. So talk why, I don't know, in the past, why do you think you found that challenging? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if anyone finds that easy, but talk to
Yeah.
us more about that.
I think it's just funny, as men, right? And we've talked about this before a bit, right? We can do these kind of like on paper brave things that are like physically brave, right?
Yeah.
Like biking, the descents you and I have done on road bikes, that freak out a ton of people. I ski a lot and I do some pretty intense descents, right? But um it's just for whatever reason, those things just pale in comparison. I could go bungee jumping, right? I could jump
Yeah.
literally off this bridge with cord, and that to me seems so much less scary, right? Than like off more times than not than telling someone how I really feel, you know,
Wow.
right? It's just kind of, I think it's just kind of wild that thing is so much scarier, and I think everyone has that problem, right? But I think in particular men are not the best at it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And so I mean, one question I'd have is how did you even, because a lot of people would walk through life and not even identify this as something that they should improve, especially dudes,
Mm,
right? So
yes.
how did that come about that you were like, man, I'm not good at this and I need to get better?
Uh, I think it's such an impactful thing. I think I was realizing that by not doing that it just impacts your life everywhere, right? We can all think of friends and family who we wish that we could tell them certain things, and a lot of times it's good things, right? But we just
Yeah.
don't. We just it's too scary to be that kind of emotionally vulnerable. Um, and so yeah, I just think that I think we all know that it's there. I think we're all aware of this thing. I don't know why well,
Mm.
part of the reason why I'm thinking about it is because I knew that I was doing this podcast with you, and I
Yeah,
truly was
yeah.
thinking of something that was the most. I don't want to give the impression that I'm constantly trying to work on this. I'm not. I'm
Man,
not doing that, right?
what a stand-up
But
guy.
to do that for your podcast is what you're saying?
No, I mean just to be always thinking about how you can improve yourself.
Oh, but I'm not. That's what I'm saying.
But I'm not.
I,
No.
I did it strictly because I knew I had a podcast going up. I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
think
yeah.
about it here and there, right? But I'm
Yeah.
not like writing a journal, but like this is how vulnerable I was today, or I had this
Okay.
conversation with this person, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, okay. Good to know, good to
So
know. So,
yeah.
but how are you, so you sort of like, even though it's for this podcast, you've been thinking about
Hmm.
that, right?
Yes.
How have you even started to approach those conversations? Like, what's your battle plan? Is it
Yeah.
just to like just go for it, put it on the line, or is there some other kind of approach to this, to getting
Yeah.
better at it?
Well, I think that's a good question. I'm curious to see how you feel about this too, right? Because
Yeah,
it's such a everyone is faced with these situations on a day-to-day basis, and that's what's so important, I think, about this subject. We can talk as much
yeah,
as we want about moving to a different country or not, but most people have never done that sort of thing. But this sort of thing it's
it's
everywhere.
universal.
It's universal. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's good to be very like confident in how you're feeling though, right?
yeah,
So knowing that feeling is coming from somewhere
yeah,
that's like pretty valid, right?
totally, man.
Um,
I think
and
that on my side, I'm like, I think the challenge is you can't control the outcome a lot of times. So like that's
no,
where the bravery comes from, right? It's like there's
mhm,
no promise that you being honest or saying how you feel or whatever is going to make it go well. And that's where the bravery comes from, but it's like trusting that living that way is going to
exactly.
be better than not, I guess, overall.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're so right on that. Yeah, it's the fact you can't control the outcome. That is, I think, what's always going to be the scariest bit. But
Yeah.
it's having, as you said, the trust in the fact that if you lead in a way that is authentic to you and how you're feeling, that is almost always going to be better than not being authentic, right?
Yeah, totally, man.
But I'm quite controlling, I think I try and control too many things. Maybe even,
Right.
we just talked about me going back to France or not. Like there was a lot of things I was not going to be able to control, and like how I felt and what happened in my life, and that scared me. And so
Yeah.
I think honestly, with a lot of these conversations, I want to be able to control things, and the fact that I can't, right?
Yeah.
I need to work on.
Yeah. And you talked a bit about how it's kind of a guy thing to not want to go there or be able to kind of have these kinds of conversations a lot of
Hmm.
times. What do you think it is about being a dude, or kind of like the expectation we have on us that stops us from,
Yeah,
I don't know, being vulnerable or honest about things like that?
yeah. Uh, I think I think society honestly has just kind of taught us that there probably are some genetic factors that make us less, not quite as good as being able to do that. But I think also society tells us that we have to be very, stoic and kind of be
Mm,
strong figure, not looking, I think a lot of men are deemed as pretty weak, by, if they try and look for help, if they try and
mm,
kind of expose themselves again to maybe a more emotional situation. Uh, and it's kind of bull crap,
yeah,
I sometimes, yeah, even I think even being brave can be like looking for help. So,
yeah,
if you're really not doing well, right, kind of being able to say, I need help from you. Like you are my friend, and I really need you to be there for me, type of thing. Right? That takes
yeah,
a lot of bravery because that person might not have the time, they might not be able to, and it's just interesting, like looking at women who, they do that. It seems like a lot more than we do, A lot
totally.
of times we'll just kind of be suffering through a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Um,
And we think it's
you
out,
know,
we think we need to be, yeah, just internalize it and just man
hmm
up. And yeah, that's
exactly.
that's why I've been loving enjoy, exploring this concept of bravery, because, you can call it courage or confidence or different things, because it's so ill-defined in our society. And say if you take the example of men, like who would most people describe as a brave man? They would describe someone who can be, I don't know, climb mountains
Superman,
or do crazy physical things, or
soldier, exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
they
And my
wouldn't
point is that
generally say someone who can open up about their feelings or like ask for help.
yes, yeah, yeah, yes. And I guess my whole point is that I think as men, we need to focus more on that than
Mhm.
the stuff that we're genetically disposed to do just by default in some ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great point, man.